Perfect. So I feel like we can probably give it a start. I think we're doing pretty good. So 48. It's really exciting.
Sounds good. There we go. So do you want to just read through the table of contents, or should we just let it sit there for a second? People can read through themselves.
We can just, I'll read it out a bit. So
Sounds
these
good.
are just an overview of everything we're going to be going over today. So we're going to go how to log in, go straight into pinning things to your Blackboard, going to the IT page, and then through the dashboard, there's a bunch of options. And then we're going to go into how to navigate courses specifically in their own sections. And then we're going to go over a little bit of extra stuff that we just have learned along the way that we thought would be cool to know right from the start instead of learning it 3-4 years down the line.
Yeah, there's some of these things that I did not learn until my 3rd year, and it's like, oh, pretty cool. Earlier. All right.
Awesome.
So.
Perfect. So if you guys want to go along, you're welcome to, but like we said, everything won't be loaded completely onto your Blackboard until the 5th at the earliest. But to log in, the link is right up here. If you want to write it down, I'll leave it up for a second, or you can access it later. But the login, you can just go right in there through the login button. And then if you haven't activated your account yet either, there are those options that go below. And then the last one that is cut off a little bit is just the forgot your username or password. So these are all ways to activate your account and set it up also.
Mm-hmm. Hope we got that link there. If you need us to backtrack at any point too, just put it in the chat and we'll do that.
Yes, and then once you're in your Blackboard, so your Blackboard will either automatically be located in your taskbar, like the little red arrow shows you, or in the top right-hand corner, you can search for it in the search bar, and it'll bring you to that icon as well, and you can go into your Blackboard from there.
Yeah, and the icon here is the BB right there. Okay.
Perfect. And then, so IT services are going to be very useful this year. I think they know by now. But they're really helpful. So they prefer it if you submit your form through the IT service request button, which is accessed through your MyTrend services, and then going to MyTrend, and then going to services, and then going into the specific IT services, and then selecting this icon that shows IT service requests, or just emailing it@trentu.ca. Or if it's something that is a bit more pressing, like you need to know right away kind of thing, they also do have a service desk at 705-748-1010. And everyone's super nice and helpful, and they always make you feel like really supported from there, which is really nice, and they help you work with stuff. They also have a really cool tool that they can, if you log into it, they can do like screen sharing with you and try and like help point things out along the way, which is really nice.
You know if their physical desk will be in operation this term?
That is something that I am currently not sure of. I know that I feel like it will be.
I think it's still a little up in the air exactly what, but yeah, there might be one accessible, like a physical desk as well in Battle Library at the library service desk. Yeah, better to email or to call if you can for now, especially just everything that's going on. Alrighty. Okay, so yeah, welcome to Blackboard. Once you click the little Blackboard icon at the bottom of your screen, this is what the kind of page it'll bring you to. So you've got on the left-hand side, you've got tools. In the center, there'll be announcements and system announcements. So if, for example, if IT is going to be doing updates, they usually do their updates between 3 and 5 in the morning on Sundays or whatnot. And so that's where service announcements will be updated. Course announcements will be listed under My Announcements, and then you've got your courses, which will be listed there, and that's like just a little example right there of what you might see when you click on that icon.
Awesome.
Brilliant. So yeah, from your Blackboard dashboard, there will be 3 columns, and then we're going to start with the one on the left-hand side, tools. And yeah, so just if you won't be able to, when you log in currently, you'll be able to access Blackboard and you'll be able to see all of these tools. But if you click on each individual one, they'll all say, oh, there's empty right now or nothing to see right now. Because as we said before, nothing will be posted until 5 days before courses. But yeah. So the first one you have there is going to be announcements. If you want, I'll read off the slides, I guess. The first tab is announcements. You can find critical information posted by both your professors and by Trent. Announcements can be filtered out by course or by university announcements. And yeah, always when you log into Blackboard, sometimes it's nothing, sometimes it's critically important. Some professors will send all of their announcements by email as well as on the announcements tab, but not all of them. So just make sure you check both your email and your announcements. Announcements would be anything from information on new tests and assignments posted, information on in-person classes. If we are doing in-person classes, things like if the professor has to cancel the class due to bad weather, something like that would be posted in announcements, but also usually get an email, but you usually see it faster if you check your announcements. Yeah, anything else to add for that?
No, I think that's awesome.
Brilliant.
Perfect. And then right just before I start this one, I'm seeing we have a few questions coming on.
Of course.
So you're welcome to ask as many questions as you want as well during this, but we're just going to get to all of them at the end. So they're all in one spot for you to refer back to. Awesome. So for the calendars, the second icon down, which our arrow is pointing to. So here is where you'll be able to see a compiled calendar of all your due dates. So your courses will be listed along the side here, like is shown where it was like, it's like the pinks going into the greens, and it shows introduction, personal, and then academic, integrity, and all of those. So be cautious because assignments will only show up if your professor has created a Dropbox for it. So always refer to your syllabus if you're unsure as well. This is an amazing resource, but I always recommend to just also look at your syllabus and make sure that everything is linked on here, because with technology, sometimes there's always little glitches here and there. We just want to make sure that we're doing everything we can to stay on top of it. But this is a really helpful place to see where everything is all at once.
Yeah. All right. And then tasks. Clicking on tasks will bring you to a list of all the tasks for your courses. I think these are the ones that are posted on your calendar as well. And so not everything will be labeled as a task in your Blackboard. So some professors can label things as tasks, some choose not to. It is up to the professor's discretion, so sometimes it can differ between courses. You can also add tasks to your list of personal tasks. So in here, once you've gone to tasks, it'll take you to the task page. There will be a button for personal tasks, and then you can write your own, give them due dates, and add them to your task list. So if you know you have to do these readings and do this assignment, and you also have to take your dog for a walk, you can make sure if the readings and the assignments are already posted, you can make sure you add taking your dog for a walk. Not that many students. Wish I had a dog.
I know. I was like, oh man.
Yeah. All right.
Awesome. And then next is the My Grades section in this little corner here. So this is where you can access all of your current grades all at once. Once your assignments are returned. So this is actually how mine looked. I just blocked off my grades so you guys couldn't see my personal grades. But yeah, so it can list here. It'll show you all the different courses that you're in. It'll give you the total of all your current grades, and you can select on each course to see what grades you've gotten back so far from each course individually. So it's like basically instead of going into each course separately and looking at your grades, it's like an area where you can look at it all together all at once and not have to do an excess amount of clicking. So it's really helpful.
Yeah. There we go. Oh, did it go back? There we go. Okay, we're good. All right, and then on the right side of the dashboard, you will see the My Courses column. So courses you are registered in will appear there 5 days before the classes in each semester. And I think we had a question about why it was 5 days before each term starts. And honestly, I don't know. I think it's partly to do with a lot of times students will switch which courses they're registered in before classes start a few times. I know my first year, I added a bunch of courses and I was like, oh, I don't want to take this. Dropped it and I added something else. I was like, oh, you know what? Maybe I don't want to take that. Swap things around a few times. I think part of the reason why they do that is so that they don't have to add and remove frequently. Another portion of it, I think, is because the professors themselves actually design the layout for their Blackboard pages, and they might not have finished that until like, closer to when the course begins, because they're still planning assignments or still finishing up the syllabus. Well, I think they have to submit the syllabus earlier in the year, but do you have any, I think that basically covers it.
Yeah, that pretty much covers it. It's just the professors have to create them as well, and they have a deadline to meet. So once they all meet that deadline, they get reviewed and then they get posted up. So
yeah,
it just has more to do with that than anything else, I think.
And once you have your Blackboard courses listed, if you then choose to add or drop a course, it will take like 24 hours to 48 hours for the new course to be added. So if you decide you're in psych and you decide you want to drop psych science, you still got, let's say, 2 days before courses start. The environmental science might not appear until like a day or two later, and the psych might not disappear for another day or two as well. But you are registered in it, even if it doesn't register, we'll send you an email to your Trent account that says you have successfully registered or successfully dropped a course. And that's what you should go on, less about what is listed in Blackboard.
Awesome.
So yeah, from the dashboard, you'll have the My Courses tab on that side. And yeah, so if you click on a course, let's say we clicked on environmental science workshop, for example. If we clicked on that, maybe it would bring us to a welcome page like this. So the My Course list will have course-specific home pages for all of your classes and a different layout, but it will generally follow the guidelines of announcements, assignments, tests, and My Grades. And there might be different layouts for a couple different professors, depending on if you've got things like modules or not, if your readings are posted on Blackboard versus if they're in textbook. Things might look a little different, but this is the general layout you can expect.
Perfect.
Oh, and it looks like some of our word was cut off here, but that's okay. We'll fix that when we post the slides.
Excited by the course.
Yeah.
So then the next feature is, as we showed earlier with announcements, this is where you can look at announcements within a course as well. So it's just not all of the announcements from all your courses, it's just the ones from this course. So once you're in the specific course, there are many different folders that can help you easily navigate this information. So right below the homepage, you'll find the announcements folder, and this is where messages of the professor posts to Blackboard will be found. So it's a really handy tool just to check whenever you go into it, just to make sure you haven't missed anything and just see if the professor has something they want to say.
All right. And a syllabus. So sometimes the syllabus will be posted on the welcome page. Sometimes it will be posted under its own specific tab. But the syllabus is one of the most important features of Blackboard. A course syllabus provides you with the most important information on the course, dates, information about tests and assignment criteria, late policies, and contact information for your professors. It's really important to always read through your syllabus really, really carefully. I've even had professors who do, like the first day of class, they'll do a syllabus quiz. I only had one professor who did that, but he wanted to make sure everyone had read the syllabus because it is really important to make sure that you give it a good read. And I even save it on my computer every term. I'll save all my syllabi just so that I have them to reference. Because the syllabus is a contract between you and the professor agreeing. It's like, okay, tests and assignments will be due here, and this is what the late policy is, so that it makes sure that everyone is on the same page about what's happening. Yeah.
Perfect. And then once again, you can access your My Grades within your Blackboard courses as well. So this is just, instead of having the compiled version of them all together, this is within a course. You're able to look at your grades also and just see how you've done on your assignments.
All right. So tests and assignments will often appear like these ones below. The tests will give you information underneath the description, such as duration, their due date, how many attempts you have. Once you click on a test or an assignment, you'll usually be redirected. Once you click on a test, you'll usually be redirected to the test page within Blackboard. It'll usually, sometimes it's multiple choice, sometimes it's short answer. Either way, it'll be set up very similar. You'll have a brief description of the test and information, okay, and then you'll be able to go into your test and either select answers from true and false questions or from multiple choice, or you'll be able to type out your answers into a little text box, depending on the test criteria. Yeah, I always read your syllabus carefully for tests, policies, and formats. It's always very important. And assignments will also be posted in Blackboard. Posted in Blackboard, and will often take the form of drop boxes or text boxes. Make sure you read the instructions really carefully. Usually, if you click on an assignment link like this one, it would take you to a Dropbox where you could upload your assignment, or a text box where you could paste it in. I recommend usually uploading assignments, but make sure you check your syllabus for your professor's criteria. If they've only uploaded it PDF, just upload it in a PDF. As far as files go, basically, if you upload a corrupt file, if you upload a file in the wrong format, the professor is not obligated to take it. So just make sure when you upload files that they're uploaded properly, because submitting a file in the wrong format or submitting a file that's corrupt could lose you marks or even lose you the assignment. Just always make sure that's all good.
Awesome. Yeah, I found that with assignments and uploading, in my experience, Word documents have been across the board what most of my professors have requested.
Yeah, usually it'll be a Word document. Some professors will request specific naming strategies too. Like they'll request you name with your last name, your first name, and then the assignment name. So it'll be, I don't know, Whitaker Elizabeth Assignment 1, Anthro 1010. Formatting, and if you mess up the formatting, you might lose a point or two on the assignment.
Awesome. Yeah, so moving on, here is the discussion board. So discussion boards are basically a space where you can talk to your classmates, ask some questions, as well as some profs might want you to post an introduction about yourself. Like here, you're able to see all of the introduction posts that students have made, or also you might need to make posts or make a weekly post about the readings or something like that as well. It's all dependent on what the professor asks. But this is just how the discussion board looks like, and you're able to start that by clicking the Create Thread button there. So, yeah.
Looks good. Okay. And readings and modules. So I'm just going to jump back. As you can see in this photo here, actually it's got modules listed in the course here. So some professors will list readings in that format. They'll have a text file paste into Blackboard, and you click on the module, and it'll bring you to just a text in Blackboard that will be your reading for the week. Some professors will put little assignments in their modules as well, or links to quizzes, or links to external sources like other readings. Some professors will just post a tab called Readings and post links to all your readings. It really depends on the professor. I've got my text here to read. So course organization, your course's readings or modules is decided by the instructor. Some courses may simply direct you to buy a textbook, or list all your readings week by week in the syllabus. Readings may also be posted on Blackboard as external links to online journals, PDFs, or Word documents, or posted in Blackboard on a page. Some courses are organized with weekly modules, which will include a text message and perhaps additional notes on tests or assignments. Always review your syllabus for each course and reading requirements for each course. And that is really key. Just make sure you read through your syllabus. Sometimes you might have a couple different textbooks purchased for a course. Sometimes it might all be readings your professor has either posted in Blackboard or has posted links to. Just make sure that you have access to your reading before the courses begin, because it's usually pretty important. But your syllabus for more information once those are posted in Blackboard. All right. And then Blackboard Help. So if you go to the final tab on the far right of your Blackboard homepage, you'll see Blackboard Help. You click on Blackboard Help. That'll bring you to all of Trent's in-house links to Blackboard, as well as Blackboard's own links for help. So I highly recommend going to which are, oh no, I hit the button. There we go. Sorry. So yeah, Blackboard's own links, which are right here. There are YouTube tutorials, there are references. If you just type Blackboard Learn into Google, it will bring you to Blackboard's tutorial page for students as well. Blackboard has their own set of tutorials, videos, and posts that are really helpful, but Trent's also got a bunch here. So top, like, frequently asked questions by students and by staff. Yeah, and if you have any information, finding specific information, you can always talk to IT, email, or give them a call. But yeah, this site is really, like, this tab is really where to go to if you're having any specific issues, like, I can't access this assignment, or I can't, well, actually one that a student of mine had recently was they kept hitting the tab and it kept giving them a server timeout error. We'll discuss more fixes later in the slides here, but a good fix for that is just to log out of my Trent and clear your cache data. And I believe that Blackboard actually has a link that recommends that as well.
Mm-hmm.
So we jump down to, you're up next. And
awesome. So editing personal information. So you're able to click the drop-down bar in the top right, and then it'll show you going into settings and then clicking personal information. And then it'll show up that little link here with on the left side of the screen showing edit personal information. You can go into there, and then it'll bring you to, next slide.
Sorry.
That's okay. Oh, never mind. Okay, so it just brings you to that link where you can edit your personal information. And I don't think I posted put a picture of my personal information.
That's fair, understandable.
But you can go into there and it gives you the option to edit all those personal settings for you.
And then,
yeah, and then just a fun little thing that isn't like crucial, but I enjoy personally, is that you can change the color theme of your Blackboard as well. So if you go into, when you're on the dashboard, if you go into the personalized page button, it'll bring you to this little page here where it shows you all the little different options, and you're able to click which theme you like in the different colors and all of that.
Yeah, it's pretty fun. It's pretty fun. All right. And then read aloud, just for any individuals who have difficulty reading what's posted on Blackboard. Blackboard is compatible with Google's read aloud, like text-to-speech software. So if you are registered with student services already, you should have access to software that should just do all this for you. They have great tutorials too. But if you just think it might be useful for your learning, I know I use this all the time. It's just, if you just go to Chrome Read Aloud and then just click on the first thing that comes up, it's an extension. You can just hit add to Chrome as we have in here. And then it'll just appear on the right-hand side of your screen in the top corner, a little megaphone. You can, and then a lot of the things that are on Blackboard can just be read aloud. So, for example, if your professor posts a module with a lot of text in it, if you want to read that aloud, you can just hit the little megaphone, and that'll read the page aloud to you. I find that really useful just because, I don't know, I'm a bit of an auditory learner. So if you're reading, it might have things already set up for that, but if you don't, it's still just a feature to have. And lastly, troubleshooting. So you may experience difficulties while accessing some Blackboard features or even the whole system. If it's happening, just don't panic. It does happen sometimes, and it's not fun when it happens, but it is fixable. So first, check your computer is connected to the internet. If you are connected to the internet just fine, try logging out of Blackboard and logging back in. If you are having issues during a test or an assignment submission, if you're able to log out of Blackboard and log back in, do give it a shot. But if by logging out you would lose progress on your assignment, or if by logging out you wouldn't be able to re-access your test, yeah, you should be able to log out of most tests and log back in as long as you're still within the time limit. Most tests, for example, if you've got a 30-minute time limit, if you exit the test and re-enter, you should be able to enter that. But if there is an issue, just email your professor and let them know. Take a picture of the error code if you can too, just a screenshot. If you've logged back into my Trent and errors are persisting, try clearing your cache data. There's a little example of how to do that on Chrome down there. Clearing your browsing data will just kind of eliminate any leftover data from previous used my Trent. So if you've used my Trent and then, I'm not really a computer scientist, so I don't really have the answers here, but it works. So yeah, if you just click on three three vertical dots in the top corner of Google on the right-hand side, and then into More Tools, and then to clear browsing data. Clearing your cache and your cookies should eliminate most of the issues you would have. So if you're so if the issue my student had earlier in the week, it was for accessing either academic record or account or like a statement of account, stuff like that. They just get a server timeout error. That would be clearing your cache data would fix that kind of an error. But yeah, every browser is different. So this is just how to do it for Safari or Firefox or Edge or whatnot. There should be another way of doing that, but you should be able to just Google it. And if you keep having issues, just give IT a call. They have these things all the time, and they're really, really helpful. Usually they call you just like, oh yeah, hit this button, and then everything works perfectly. They're magic. Yeah. And I think that brings us to the end. So just a couple of useful links. So the first one is Trent's own Blackboard help page that is outside of my Trent. It's through Trent's website. So that has some useful links for Blackboard and how to manage it. And then again, wow, I'm spelling today. I will fix that. And then Blackboard's own home educational resource page. If you click on that, blackboard.com/learn/student, give you a lot of information that Blackboard itself has published, and they're really great tutorials on how to do everything. Yeah, I think that brings us to the Q&A. So I will stop sharing my screen and then we'll jump into that.
Perfect. And then we will go in and answer because we've had some questions come up in chat in the Q&A. So from here forward, maybe if questions can be directed entirely in the Q&A, but we can go through the chat first and answer the ones that come up here. And then we'll go into the Q&A and go through these questions one by one. And just for the future, every question would just prefer to be in the Q&A for this Q&A portion of it.
Yeah. All right, so let's scroll up to the top, just go through all the chat questions then.
Perfect.
Sounds good. So the first I have here is, when do the syllabuses come out for classes? I'm not sure what books to buy and when. As an up-year student, would you recommend books now or wait till September? Do you want to go first or?
Yeah, so the syllabi come out on the 5th is the earliest usually, and then it can take a few days to kind of upload into your account, but you have your syllabi by the time that your courses will start. I think that I have known people that buy their books ahead of time, and I also know people that buy their books after they've gone to one of the classes just to see if it's something that they want to stay in and if it's something they like, and then they want to commit to it. So that is something that is up to you. I know some textbooks and courses come with online access codes as well. So I would just pay attention to see if the professor indicates that you need to buy it ahead of time or not. It is always important to just pay attention to, but I think if there is no indication, it's more on personal preference of if you want to sit in on the class and see if it's something you really want to take before you buy the book or not.
And it's also good to wait, like once you've read through your syllabus, often professors will discuss access for textbooks in the first week of class. I know for the statistics class that I took, a first-year stats class, both textbooks were actually free. Now, they were listed in the syllabus and didn't indicate they were online or free at all. But in the first class, the professor was like, okay, so you're going to need this class, like this book and this book for this class. Both of them are online access for free. Here's the link to the PDF where you can download the whole thing. And that was kind of good because it was a $400. Originally it was $400 math textbook. And I was like, I don't really want to buy this 4 chapters that I'm going to need in it. So he was kind enough just to post that online for all the students to access. So yeah, I would recommend that unless it specifically lists a reading that you should do for the first week of classes in your syllabus, that you attend the first week of classes before you buy. But that's just me again, and that we both know people who do it both ways. I know people who only rent their books from the library if they're able to. And actually, that's a good thing to mention too, is sometimes the library will have access to textbooks, so if you're not totally sure you want to stay in a class, sometimes course-specific textbooks are accessible through the front desk for like a brief, like you rent it for like an hour or two, and then you read through that chapter and then return it. And then some textbooks are available online, and then some textbooks are available secondhand through the TCSA's little bookstore upstairs as well. So yeah, in the student building, the new building called?
Student.
Yeah. If the upstairs at the Student Center in the TCSA office, there are some secondhand books that are a little bit cheaper as well.
Awesome.
All right, and then our next question. Are web-based courses on Blackboard? Yeah, basically, it will be basically all Blackboard. There might be an external, a video or two of the professor like doing the lecture. I think the recording software they use is external to Blackboard, but the links are just posted on Blackboard. So everything you need for an online class should be in Blackboard.
And I've also taken a few, for the Q&A part later as well, if you guys have questions on how courses look and any, like my personal experience with it, I took a few online courses this summer just to kind of get a look into the future of how the fall is going to kind of look. So if you have any questions regarding that as well, I can tell you about my personal experience I took a full course load this summer online just to take a look and see how it was.
All right. Where can I find the syllabus on Blackboard? How can I check my syllabus if my Blackboard doesn't have any courses yet? And that, again, it'll be posted 5 days before the courses start. The syllabus might not be posted on the same day as the Blackboard link. It might be posted a day later or 2 days later, but you will have it before courses start. It will be posted before the 10th. And yeah, once it's there, like the professors understand it's the first week of classes, and professors understand that shifting online is going to be a bit of a tricky time. So yeah, you'll have access to an ample chance to before things get started. Oh, I'm sorry, it keeps freezing. My internet is just having a time.
Oh, good. If there's anything you want us to go back to or anything at all, let us know and we can go back to it.
Oh, yeah, the catalog as well. That's the next question down here. It's on my Trent portal under academics, go to courses, and then the syllabus catalog. Not every professor posts their syllabus to the syllabus catalog, I found. But yeah, you can also access your syllabus before it becomes live on Blackboard through the syllabus catalog, which is, through academics. And if you go to the search bar in the top of your MyTrent page, you can the syllabus catalog in there. Again, if you don't see your course's syllabus, don't fret. Not all professors post it to the syllabus catalog. Most first-year courses do, but not all of them. Oh yeah, the textbook list will be in your syllabus when it's posted, so you won't necessarily be able to access a list of your the textbooks you'll need until your syllabus is posted. Trent Bookstore does have a method where you can select which courses you're in, and it'll autofill which books you need, but those won't be active until, the bookstore receives your syllabus either. So just wait till your syllabuses are posted. If you're able to access them through the syllabus catalog, great, but you'll find your textbook list once your syllabus is posted. Usually, actually, what might be a good idea is for next time we can get a sample syllabus and kind of go through it beyond a sample syllabus. Because usually it'll be instructor contact information, the textbooks you'll need, all of the dates that your tests and assignments will be, and a list of all the readings that you'll have to do for each week is usually the format I've seen.
Yeah.
Yeah. Syllabuses won't be posted yet because no courses are listed, but once they're posted, there will be a link to your syllabus in each course. There'll be a separate link. Again, because the layout is a little bit different per course, it might have a link under the welcome page, it might have a separate link, but there will be a link for your syllabus in each course.
So the bookstore, so the question is, the syllabus is more accurate. So the bookstore is just what they suggest. So actually, the bookstore is synced with the syllabus, like once they have access to it. So the bookstore, if it says it's a required one, that means the prof has submitted it to the bookstore as a required one. It's not just a suggested. There are options, like when you look at the bookstore options, it can say like recommended versus required. So that means the required ones you need to have, and the recommended ones, that's optional if you want to make that extra step.
Yeah. So if right now you can see it through the bookstore one, it means the syllabus is ready, the professor has submitted all its Blackboard stuff, and their Blackboard page is ready to go, but it won't be submitted until the 5th. But for ones that you can't see right now, the professors are still organizing their Blackboard pages and haven't maybe posted their syllabus yet, but they will be done on the 5th, and then they'll be posted on the 5th. All right. Should we purchase textbooks before classes or wait to see what them? Again, everyone does it a little differently. You can buy it before, you can buy it the day of, you can buy it after the first week. You can buy it whenever you want. I usually wait, but not everyone does, and that's perfectly okay. Yeah, and if all of your textbooks are listed, fantastic. A lot of are a bit more like easily accessible right now than like online than they usually are, just because professors are making a big effort to get everything online as fast as possible. If you found books in the library or for free, that's epic. I have been really lucky. Some years I've had all of my textbooks be free or online. Some years I've had to buy $400. It's a little different every year. It depends what degree you're in. It depends on a lot of different things, but there are a lot of options for free or cheap textbooks.
Yeah.
So how to buy like the bundles? I presume that means like the online code. How do I know to buy the bundles or the separate books? Is the question.
I'm not seeing this question, sorry.
Posted at 1:31 in the chat. And the next one is also about Launchpad. Is it a good idea to buy an opened Launchpad with, which was used by the seller for 12 months and still has 12 months access? I would highly recommend going with what your professor goes with, the bundles and the Launchpad. If your professor says you need a brand new one, then you need a brand new one.
Yeah,
it really sucks sometimes. The online access codes can be quite expensive, and some people don't like reading the online textbooks as much as the physical ones. But if your professor says you need your very own brand new like code, you definitely need it. So I would wait if you're thinking about doing that to have either an online meeting with the professor or like send the professor an email or something like that. Is there a way to rent books? Yes. The bookstore will let you rent books. They will let you rent used books, and they will let you rent new books. And you can highlight them and then return them. And it's usually about half the price.
Yeah, it's much cheaper. I really like that option.
Yeah, and a lot of the time for textbooks, you'll only really need to use it once or twice, unless it's a book that you look at and you go, oh, I want you for the rest of my life. Renting textbooks. Yeah. What else do we have? More textbook questions. Other options for buying cheaper and free textbooks in the bookstore. Again, the TCSA used bookstore is in the Student Center up in the TCSA offices. They usually have a bunch of first-year textbooks. There are a couple of Facebook groups if you're on Facebook. Trent University Text Exchange and Trent University Free and for Sale. And there's a couple other ones where people usually post their books, but make sure you get the correct editions for books. For some books it doesn't matter, but for some it really does. So make sure you're getting the correct edition. Oh, the Launchpad is for the web courses. Have you used Launchpad before? I've only used it once, and it was a long time ago.
I used Launchpad back in first year, I believe. So it was a good time ago.
Yeah, same here.
So what is the question regarding Launchpad? It is basically like an external online resource where you will be answering, like I've had quizzes on Launchpad before, or like I had like labs on Launchpad before, like virtual labs when I took a biology course online. So it's just an external platform that you will be doing your learning on that you'll just need to pay for access to, basically.
Yeah. There's a couple ones that are free that are used, and there's a couple ones that are paid that are used. Launchpad's one of the paid ones. I know the Pearson like publishing company also has one for their textbooks with web access. It's like you can put quizzes and readings, like summaries in there. I know a lot of the math courses use WebWork. which is free, luckily, but there'll be external links to it. So yeah, if your professor's pad, then you'll probably end up having to buy a Launchpad.
Yeah. I know I personally haven't taken these courses, so I don't have anything personal to say about them, but I know, like, for example, there's like Mastering Chem, which is basically the chemistry version of it as well. They're just like all different online platforms that you will have different assessments through as well. So if the prof says that it's a required portion of your course, then you'll need to make sure you get access to that, because that is where some of your a lot of your learning will be on as well.
Yeah. All right, I think that takes us to the bottom of the chat, so let's hop on over to the question.
Perfect. Yeah, so we'll have everything specified in the Q&A now.
So we'll type these answers, if that's okay with everybody, just because that means that we can also post answers as well as a Word document, and that means later on we can post that so other people who might have the same questions, so you can read the answers we gave. And later on, I'll go through the chat and I will type out the questions so we can post that as well.
Perfect.
Great. Oh, I've lost the Q&A. Where'd it go?
It's okay. I'll start reading out the first one.
Sounds good.
The first question is, why is it only 5 days before school? What about reading ahead and other information, because 5 days is a rush? So I understand where that concern comes from. I definitely felt nervous about that as well the first time I was starting those courses, but it's really nice because then it also doesn't give you that push to do everything before the course starts, before you have a chance to actually experience the course and listen to a lecture or two and take a look. So I get that it is a rush, but you will have it before the courses start, and the prof will specify if there's anything you need to do before the first course, but for most courses, it's usually just look over the syllabus and then we're gonna have our first class kind of thing.
All right. And then what is a syllabus? I'm just typing out the answer right now. So it's a document that covers all the key information about a class. So it usually starts with the course name, then maybe a brief course description, then the professor's name, the professor's contact information, if there's a TA or a marker, the TA's name or the marker's name and their contact information. Usually then it'll have any textbooks you have to get, any policies like late policies or, excuse me, stuff like that. It should list the due dates for all your tests and assignments and how much they're weighted. It should list the format of all tests and assignments, at least a brief description. It won't be the due for each test and assignment, but it will be a brief, like, you will have 5 quizzes through the semester. Each will be worth 5% of your final mark. They will take the format of 30 multiple choice questions and you will be given to them or something like that. It'll be a brief description. Then for each test, you'd have a more in-depth description, like this is covering chapters 1 through 3 or something like that. And then after assignment descriptions and weighting, it would probably be reading by week. I've often seen professors do readings by week, or if they're using external links, they might post under each week. So for example, week 1, they might say read chapter 1 through 2, or week 2, they may say, okay, now read chapter 3 through 5. Or if they have specific articles they want you to read, they might post week 1, and they might post like a link or two to a couple different articles. Usually I will see professors post when assignments are due also, if they do a week by week separated. Yeah, so that basically the syllabus is just all the key course information. Everything that you would want to know is going to be on the syllabus, and then specifics will be posted on Blackboard. So specific things for specific assignments.
Perfect. And then the next question is, how often before classes start do professors post the textbooks? If there aren't textbooks posted, what is advised? So like we mentioned earlier, like with the courses will be posted to your Blackboard 5 days before classes start. So once those have uploaded to your Blackboard and the syllabus is there, you'll be able to take a look at that and see what textbooks you need. So don't worry if it's not there right now, it will be there soon.
Okay.
So the next one, if you want, I can just read them all and then.
Sure, yeah, I can go through and answer them in text.
Perfect. So the next one is just wondering if Blackboard is also where web-based courses will be held. So not the classes that are only online because of COVID-19, but also the ones that are always online. Yeah, so all of your courses, whether if it's just entirely web-based, if it's going to be like allotted a specific time or go at your own pace, they will all be on Blackboard. Awesome. So the next question is Launchpad related to Blackboard? So there usually, if Launchpad is something that's required for your course, there will be a link to it within your Blackboard to that your full setup for you that you can go to then access your Launchpad. But it is not necessarily related to Blackboard. It's just something that you'll be using alongside Blackboard if it's something that your prof recommends. So the next question is, how can I check my syllabus if Blackboard does not have any courses listed yet? So I feel like we've answered this one, but just to clarify again, so Blackboard will list that on the 5th. It'll take maybe a few days for it to come up, but it's okay, don't worry. I don't have any courses listed on mine yet either. It's just something that will be posted either on the 5th or within a few days of the 5th. I might direct this one to you, Elizabeth, but will the bookstore be open in the fall, or will we have to purchase our books online?
I believe what you do, I believe what it's going to be, unless I'm mistaken, is you purchase your books online and then they are put in a box and put in like a waiting area, and then you go and you can pick them up from a person in front of the sorry, words. In front of the bookstore, they will have like a list, and you go, oh, I'm here for the books for Elizabeth, and they will bring out books for you. And then, yeah, so I think it'll be an online order. I think they might do some in-person stuff as well, because the bookstore does sell other things that aren't textbooks. But I don't know for sure. I've seen them post out any jobs looking for extra cashiers. So I don't know.
Very distanced version of
it. I think it would be a very distanced version.
Mm-hmm.
Usually it's a bit of a hustle in the fall anyhow, so I think ordering them online is honestly easier.
Usually in the fall, there's usually like a 50, I've had like a 50-person line. Well, probably not 50, that's an exaggeration, but like at least 20 people.
Stand in line for like at least 10 to 15 minutes, and it's quite crowded to make your way through the store. So I highly recommend ordering them online, even if it is open, just for your own personal safety, as well as just because it takes way less time.
Mm-hmm. And the safety of the staff as well.
And the safety of the staff as well, yes.
Awesome. So how will the teacher indicate that you need a textbook or certain materials? So that will be indicated in your syllabus once it's uploaded to your Blackboard.
Mm-hmm. I have lost where we are at.
That's okay. This is at 1:33 p.m. So this the next question is, what does it mean when it says the textbook with an access card to Launchpad? Do you have to get the book from Trent if it says you can order it from other websites? You're not restricted to getting things exactly from Trent. It's just more for like security reasons. I personally rather get my stuff from Trent or somewhere else that I know of if I trust it, with like, especially with online codes and everything, just to make sure it's not a used one. Just know that's like something that's sealed and new for you, pretty much. Okay. So all courses are online due to COVID-19. So will we be using Zoom or Blackboard or both, or are we using a different media? So that is a good question, and that is honestly goes from more of a course-to-course basis. So if your course has like a time slot allotted to it, for my personal experience over the summer, if there's a time slot allotted to it, then that means that there will be like a Zoom class. You'll have like, it'll be like a Zoom call like this, where the prof will teach, and then you can like have a conversation, everything with all your classmates. Or if it doesn't have a time slot allotted to it, then the lectures will be uploaded online and you can watch them through your Blackboard as well. So it is just more determined on a course-to-course basis. Awesome. How long does it take for books to ship? I have personally never ordered online from the bookstore. Have you had any experience with that?
I have not ever ordered a textbook online, so I actually have I have no good answer. I'm sorry.
That is okay. I believe it would probably give you, it'll probably just let you know when you place the order, like it'll take X amount of days to, oh, perfect. Bookstores take about 2 to 3 days to ship. Thank you. Yeah, I've never ordered online yet. This is something that I am yet to experience as well. So perfect. Thank you. So is it better to buy bundles or just access code if the book is free online? So that is honestly on what you feel comfortable basis as well. And to go with what the prof recommends for that as well. I don't know if you have anything you want to add to that.
Sorry, I was typing another answer. What was the question?
That's okay. So is it better just to buy the bundles or the access code of the book is free online?
So like buying the access code without the book?
Yeah, so I think that's fine. They are sold separately. It's just as long as the prof hasn't requested that you buy the bundle.
Yeah.
Awesome. What are other options for buying cheaper and free textbooks other than the bookstore? So yeah, like we said earlier, there's some Facebook groups, the Trent University Textbook Exchange, and the, I don't know what the other one was that you mentioned.
Yeah, so the Trent, actually Peterborough Public Library has some books.
Yes.
The Trent Library has 3-hour rentals, so they are, I believe for most of the first year courses, you can rent the textbook from the library. You're only allowed to have it for 3 hours and you may not leave the building with it. So they hand it to you, you sit where you do your reading and then you give it back to them. But you do have to actually physically check it out. And I think the fine for having it more than 3 hours is a little bit more than the regular books. But yeah, you can take that book home with you for a bit, or not home with you, like away with you for a bit, do your readings and then bring it back. And that I did that for an entire course once because it was a very light reading, maybe an hour to do the readings each week. So I just go to the library, get the book, read it, and then return it. And that works reasonably well. There are options for photocopying library book pages too. So if you know you've got to read a book and you only have it for a limited time, you can always photocopy those pages or take pictures with your phone. That's what I will often do if I know there's a textbook I only have to read like a page or two from the textbook. It's not worth buying it. That's what I'll do get it from the library. Google Scholar has access to a fair amount of textbooks. Always Google your textbooks with PDF at the end, because
yes,
textbooks have had PDF versions free online. For many books, the edition doesn't matter, and for some it very, very much does. So I know for a lot of my archaeology textbooks, the only difference between the 8th and the 5th edition was color photographs and spacing. So I bought the 5th edition for $25, whereas the 8th or 9th edition, I think was $100, and it made no difference. It was literally just color photographs were the difference. And so that was really good. But I know for other books I've had in the past, there's whole chapters are missing from other editions. I had a copy of a book this past year, and an entire chapter that my assignment was on was just not in the new edition, and I had the wrong edition, so I had to go with this other edition. I get that whole chapter. And so I highly recommend do a little bit of research into the books before you get them. Make sure that if you do get an older edition that you clear it with the professor. They'll usually know which older editions are fine. I've had professors in the past say, the 5th edition is required, but if you get the 4th or the 3rd, that's okay. But yeah, if you get an earlier edition and you know it'll work, great. It'll be cheaper and it'll be easier to access. And if you're not able to do it, or if you're not sure it'll work out for you, I don't recommend risking it.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. And then the next question is, what are the online lectures like? So is it strictly the professor talking, or is it communication between students? So I can talk to that a little bit if you would like.
Yeah.
So with my experience over the summer is that it is entirely dependent on the course. So if it's a course that has a very large number of students, like some have a few hundred, that it will probably be kind of like this format where the professor is talking and sharing their screen and doing the lecture, and you are just watching the lecture. Versus if it's like a smaller class, like I've also had smaller classes as well that allowed for us to all talk, and but that was like in one of my fourth year courses where there was like 10 students, so we all knew each other very well by that point.
Yeah.
So it is entirely dependent on the class. I feel like for most first year classes, they will most likely just be watching the lecture, and then in the seminars is where you're going to have the opportunity to do the talking.
Yeah, and I know for one professor last semester, like in the winter semester, when we were just kind of transitioning online, it was a very tiny class. He just set up a Zoom meeting, and we all just kind of chatted. And he didn't mute any of us, so it was a little loud sometimes. 3-year-old was screaming in the background sometimes, and it was equal parts adorable and annoying. And yeah, so we just all sat around and chatted. And then I've had other online classes where where professor, yeah, where like the Wenjack style classes where the professor is standing up on a stage and you can barely hear them. And I think it'll be better now that they're properly doing it. But I know, well, they usually record most first year classes and post them anyhow. So it won't be, like, the transition won't be super hard for a lot of the first year courses. It'll be basically the same format. It won't be super different from in the past, I think. But yeah, I think it'll be a little bit of mix between those kinds of, like, depending on how many people you have in the course.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. And then the next question is, where can I rent books online from the bookstore? Couldn't find it. So not all courses have, or not all textbooks have the rental option as well, which might be the issue that you're running into. But if they do offer the rental option, it will be listed alongside the buying options for them.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. And then the next question is, so the required textbook for my courses was not the last edition, but was the previous edition. This is possible. I'm collecting my textbooks now, but couldn't be sure this one. So if the prof wants a different edition, that's totally fine. It's up to them to choose which edition they would like, even if it's not the latest one. They might just have their course designed around the previous one. So it's totally fine if it's a different edition than the most recent one, as long as that's the one that the prof is requesting. Oh, sorry, I missed a question here. So I am outside of Canada. Where can I get online versions of the books cheaper? I am personally not sure of any online resources like the Facebook groups or anything for outside of Canada. I know just like what Elizabeth mentioned earlier, just kind of search for your textbook with PDF after it and see if it's offered online for free, just to do like a little check to see if that's something that is available. I have lucked out with that quite a few times. I'm very grateful for that. So I think just doing that little search before taking a leap into buying the textbook would be recommended.
Yeah. And again, yeah, a lot of things are PDFs online. But if you can't find it online, I know Amazon does have a lot of these as ebooks. Google Books too has a lot of the textbooks as ebooks, which meant, again, you're paying a little bit more money because you're buying it like an online copy, like from Amazon or Google or something like that. Sometimes you can get physical copies a little bit cheaper. With shipping right now, everyone's shipping everything around the world, so I think shipping is a little backlogged wherever you are. Yeah.
It also goes with personal preference. Through my years of university, I have discovered that I really like online books more than the text copies, because I'm able to like search within the text and kind of like look for keywords that I'm hoping to find. That's just a personal preference. It's completely up to you whether you want online or text, like the real one as well.
Yeah. Did we answer what about where can I get tests and assignments from last year? At one.
Sorry?
138.
Can I get access to last year's test exam questions for the course I enrolled in this semester through Blackboard? I think that's available. Sometimes the professors offer it in the library archives.
Mm-hmm. Go to Trent's library and you search for past tests and assignments. There are some. Some of them are from a long, long time ago. The oldest one I found was from 88. So it was a little, I think it was macroeconomics. It was a little outdated, just a little bit. But you should be able to find things for some of the more common courses, like psych, I think is a good one. You can usually find like 5 or 6 years ago from psych.
Road Biro courses are always up there.
Yeah, honestly though, rather than last year's test and exam questions, what I find far more useful is most of the textbooks you guys will be reading for first year will have end of chapter questions and tests.
Yeah.
I know for psych, for stats, for Enviro, for a lot of the courses that I've taken, first year courses I took back then, they would have end of chapter like little quizzes for yourself and little like summaries, and I find those useful. I very much recommend doing them. Make a Kahoot or like a Quizlet page for them and just quiz yourself on them, because professors often draw from those for questions. It might not be an exact copy. It rarely is an exact copy, but often it is very similar.
Sorry, I'm just trying to go back to where I was. So the question is, will everything needed for the class, including textbooks, Launchpad, if required, be located on the syllabus, right? Yeah, so your prof will specify to you within the syllabus if you will need textbooks or if you need to have access to Launchpad. And they'll also probably have a conversation with you guys about that in the first lecture. And then we already answered this question about the bookstore. Is it better to buy bundles or just access codes? We've already answered that one. Jobs for cashiers. Where can I apply for that? So there is a job board on your My Trent as well. I believe it is in the far right tab. I think it's support, or you can just search job in your My Trent and it'll come up. And it's a really awesome place. I have applied for most of my jobs through there, and it has been a really awesome little database for all of the courses, or oh my gosh, all of the jobs that are listed on that platform. Sorry, the garbage truck is going by my house, so it's a bit loud.
That's A-okay. All right, there we go.
What is a connect code? Oh, sorry. If you are studying in a different country and fully online, what places are recommended for textbooks? So we answered this one earlier as well. So you can just refer back to that. I just don't want to double answer a bunch of things. That's okay. So what is a connect code? So for Launchpad, or something like that, if you order, you purchase the access code along with the textbook, it'll basically just be a specific code that comes with your book that you will be given, that you sign on to the platform with. That is basically like your unique ID to that platform.
I'm just going to take this moment. I have to actually turn off my webcam, just because my boyfriend is running a seminar and he has to use the webcam next.
That's okay. No worries at all. We only have one question left.
All right.
So Did I find it easy or difficult to learn via Zoom, or does it vary from person to person? It definitely varies from person to person. I personally thrive with this online option. I have found out that is really interesting to find because I did not think it was something that would work for me. I feel like the biggest thing with online courses and Zoom courses is just time management is a really big part of them. So just if, for example, like with one of my courses, it didn't have a time slot allotted to it. So then I just set a time slot in my own calendar and I just wrote down like, okay, Monday at 3 o'clock, I'm going to watch all my lectures for this course for this week kind of thing and go from there. So it's just about allotting that time for yourself. If it's not already outlined for you, it is definitely varies from person to person though, because I do know that online learning is not everyone's forte. So don't stress out if it's something that you find more difficult as well. But yeah, I'd say person to person, but just do what you can to help with time management and structure it as well as you can to give yourself your best opportunity with it. Do you have anything you want to add to that as well, Elizabeth?
I have actually never taken an online course, so I don't know specifically. However, I don't know. I used to tutor online, and I found that fine, but I was the teacher and not the student. So I find online learning a little bit more difficult for me, but that's just because I have a little bit of a harder time reading. Like staring at the computer screen just hurts my eyes a little bit sometimes. But I found that as long as I manage my time well, as long as I set out specific times, like you said, it's like, okay, on Wednesdays I'm doing this, on Thursdays I'm doing that, then usually it works just fine for me when I'm teaching. And I'm excited to figure out how it's going to be as a student because, yeah, it's going to be a little bit different.
Perfect. Okay, cool. So these are all the questions that we have answered, which is awesome. So we'll leave it if anyone has any more questions they want to ask, but I think otherwise we might be saying goodbye right now. Or until next time, until the 31st, and we're going to do this again. I hope we answered your questions, and if there's anything else that you have questions about, write them down, and we'll be back on the 31st to do this again.
Sounds good.
Awesome. Perfect. I don't know how to make it stop recording.
I have to fiddle around a little bit with the audio before I can make it stop recording. So okay. I'm just going to finish answering these questions that I have just so I have the record of them. And then and once we've done that, actually, yeah, I'll type these answers real quick. And then once I've typed them out, I will stop the recording.
Perfect. Okay. Well, you feel free to enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you so much for coming out and watching this, and we hope
thank you, everybody.
We can answer more questions again later next time. So thank you. Take care, guys.